In 1992, Children's Press published his book, The Animal's Ball Game, based on one of Lloyd's favorite Cherokee animal stories. Lloyd's second book, Long Ago Stories of the Eastern Cherokee, was released in early 2008.
When I first started sharing, I would go out and tell people things that happened, and happened because I was Native American or Indian. And I would see them going, and they wouldn't faze me. And finally I started saying, well, if you think I say something that's funny, it's okay to laugh. And I'd still get it. And I couldn't figure out how to let them know if it was okay to laugh during a program. Because I found out the common misconception of the Native American is, we have a wonderful sense of humor. But the reason most people don't see it is because it's not exhibited around mountain. Growing up on the reservation, I was finding people from all over the world coming. They wanted to see the Indians. Well, one of our store owners decided he would put somebody in front of the store dressed as we were in the early 1800s. And then we wore a turban. We had a hunting smock. We wore a finger woven belt and leggings. And we put them out there, and people would come by with the cameras. I'm looking for, I don't know what the Indians are. And he said, well, you want to take a picture of me? I'm an Indian. And he said, yeah, well, no, we wanted a real Indian. I said, well, I'm a real Indian. I said, well, where are you from? You're Bombay or Calcutta? I said, what are you talking about? I said, well, you're wearing a turban. You said you're an Indian, so you're an Indian. He said, no, I'm Cherokee. He said, no, they didn't wear turbans, they wore feathers. We know it's an Indian. So the store owner found out if you want to sell a product, you have to give the customer what they want. And what they want are Indians with feathers and buckskin. So when you go into Cherokee, that's why you see the guys downtown with the big Sioux war bullets on and the fancy buckskin and leather beadwork, because that's what the tourists will see. And the other communities, we have people who are environmentally conscious. We have people who don't give a darn about the environment. Other people don't care about anybody except themselves. We're civilized now. And I'm not a traditional teller, because I will tell stories as long as somebody slows down to listen to them. It doesn't make it. Now, this first story I'd like to share goes back to a time to when the first man and the first woman appeared on the earth. And some of you may be thinking, he's talking about Adam and Eve. Now remember, this is a Cherokee story. That's not what we call these two people. Now we tried to keep things very simple. So instead, we called them the first man and the first woman. Now the first man and the first woman got into a tremendous argument, much like men and women do even today. And the first woman decided she'd had enough of the first man, so she started walking off as hard as she could go. And the first man said, let her go. I don't know why I put up as long as I did. Enjoyed talking with her. Maybe I was wrong. But by the time he changed his mind, she'd been walking so hard and so fast, she was a little dot on the distant horizon. And he knew she was so mad, she would walk all night long. But he had to try and catch her, so he started walking. And he walked all day. Night fell, and he walked all night long. And the next morning, as the sun was rising in the east, he looked ahead of him. She was still a tiny little dot on the distant horizon. He hadn't gained a step, but he kept walking. As the sun rose up in the sky, he looked down on the first man and took pity on him and decided to help him. It would make her slow down so the first man could catch her and talk with her. So the sun caused some huckleberries to grow up along the path. And she walked past the huckleberries, didn't pay any attention to them. Then the sun caused some blackberries to grow up along the path. And she walked past the blackberries, didn't pay any attention to them. And then the sun caused new fruit to grow up in the field. And she was walking through the field, crushing this fruit under her feet, not paying any attention to it. And the sun added a scent to the fruit. And the scent started drifting up until finally it reached her nose. And when it did, she stopped and looked around to see where that wonderful smell was coming from. She looked behind her and saw where she crushed the fruit. She bit down and picked one up and smelled it. That's where the smell was coming from. Then she took a bite. Oh, it was wonderful. She looked around and saw the field was filled with this new fruit. And she thought, my man would enjoy this. And she started gathering some. And when she gathered all that she could carry, she started back. And that was how the first man caught up with the first woman. She was coming back to share food with him. Now today this fruit is red, and it's in the shape of a heart because it brought the first man and first woman back together again. And it's in the shape of a heart. And we call this fruit the strawberry.